hot messes. I'm incredibly impressed that you have made it this far through this very well written but horribly depressing book. So today, let's talk about chapters 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so I always have this kind of lull in books when I get to about the part that we were just reading. Just sort of like, I'm ready to kind of get to bigger conclusions, I'm ready to move past sort of the middle stuff, but I'm still interested, I'm still enjoying it. You know what I mean? I feel like we've sort of gotten to the point where we understand Kelsey, the author and narrator, a little bit better, and I feel like we're ready to get into more reflections and fewer just stories. But maybe that's just me. But all that nonsense aside, let's get to the actual stories from this week. Is anyone else still attending emotionally to the raw wounds that the author created with the story about the young girl in treatment? Because I certainly am. Obviously, all of this pain is extremely difficult to read about when it's happening to teenagers, adolescents, young adults, even older adults, but a 12-year-old, it's so devastating to get into the author's mind when she's feeling maternal towards this young girl and wanting to convince her that the pain will go away and wanting to convince her that there's an end in sight when she doesn't feel that for herself. I'm gonna need a second here. I also find it so interesting that through all of this, the narrator is still trying to convince herself that she's created this disease for herself and therefore it's less important and it counts less. As she's looking through quantifiable evidence that she is dying, she's still thinking that this is something that she's done to herself on purpose, that she's in control of. God, I know this is something that tons of women experience, and I'm really glad that there's such a strong voice who can outline it for other people to help understand, but again, it's still so hard to go through reading it. I'm really interested to see what she does with the last couple of chapters. I wonder if it's going to be sort of a callback to the first couple of chapters, which is more of like statements on eating disorders in general rather than just memoir type personal stories from her life. I also want to know what happens to her in her life as she gets older. I want to know how she's doing with her eating disorder now. I really hope that we get some insight into that, although I would understand if she wanted to keep this slightly less personal. But we'll see. So yes, I've had some really interesting conversations with a couple of you through email about favorite quotations from this book, and I'm really enjoying talking to you guys. And I want to be able to include some of what we're talking about in the videos at the end of this series. So if you're watching and you haven't started a conversation with me about this book, please do through comments or tweets or whatever so that we can all sort of be in it together. Next week we're going to talk about chapters 10, 11, and 12, which will take us to the end of the book. So I'll see you all there if we make it. It's really hard to read. In a good way. I'll see you guys on Monday.